Okay, another series in Ibn Ezra and the Parasha. This is Rabbi Dweck on Parashat Toledot. Why did Esav sell the firstborn rights? As we know, the Torah tells us in this week's Parasha, Perek Kafeh, Pesukim Lamed Gimat Lamed Dalet, Vayimkor et bechorato liYaakov. Esav decides to sell his bechorah to Yaakov for the Nezid Adashim. ויעקב נתן לעשו לחם וזית אנשים ויאכל וישת ויקום וילך. The Torah tells us ויבז עשו את הבכורה. Esav spurned the firstborn rights. And the question becomes, why would he spurn the firstborn rights? Let's forget for a moment about the spiritual aspect of being the bechor of Yitzhak Avinu. Let's speak for a moment about material wealth. Why, from a material perspective, would Esav, asks Ibn Ezra, spurn the firstborn rights? And he says, he saw that his father did not have wealth. This is the opinion of Ibn Ezra on this subject. And he said, you're going to ask me, Abraham Avinu surely left money over to Yitzhak. Ki azav lo Abraham amon rav. He says, oh, come on. Uchilu lo ra'u ki mehem ashir gadol bin urav ubalideh oni bizkunav. What? No one ever saw someone who was very rich when he was younger and became poor as he got older? Ve'aid, I have proof of this. Yitzhak aviv ohevet Esav ba'avur sorcho. What's the reason the Torah tells us that Yitzhak loved Esav? Kisai befiv, because he loved to hunt and he brought him food. If there was a lot of food available in his father's home, and he was high in his eyes, nichbad be'inav, lo machar bechorato ba'avur nazid. He surely would not sell his firstborn rights for the lentil soup. Why would he do that? If his father's home had a lot of food available, he would have went straight to his father's home and eaten food there. If his father was eating tasty food every day as he was older, why does he tell Esav, bring me your food, what you hunt, and then I will bless you before I die? It seems as if Yitzhak is craving this food that Esav is making available to him. Additionally, if Yitzhak and Rivka were wealthy, we read in next week's Parasha that Yaakov makes a vow that he's going to give a tenth of his wealth if God takes care of him. That God will give me food and clothing. Why doesn't she send him with money? She loves him. He has to watch the sheep. He has to be a shepherd. So why doesn't she send him money? Must be that he didn't have enough money and food at home, and therefore Esav spurns the bechorah, even from a material aspect, right? Even if Esav was not interested in the spiritual aspect of his family's heritage, at minimum the material wasn't there. Now you might ask, in the next perek it says about Yitzhak, the following perek, the man grew richer and richer until he was very wealthy. Says Ibn Ezra, that was kodem ziknuto. That story took place at a different time. That perek kavav, sorry for the mistake here, perek kavav in Bereshit, which speaks about Yitzhak and Rivka by Avimelech, and Yitzhak becoming richer and richer. That was before he got older. That was before Esav decided to sell the Bechorah. So we're talking about episodes that are out of order, which often happens in Tanakh, which Ibn Ezra mentions about Em Mukdam Harba Torah, and there's a Semichut Parashiot for a specific reason. But here, even though it's the following story, this is before he got older. Now, the deeper question here, Ibn Ezra expects, one might ask, people who are not very knowledgeable and hearts of folly think that wealth is something important for the righteous. And if you're righteous, you have wealth. We have proof from Eliyahu Nabi. We have the ravens, we have the animals that are feeding him. We have him going to the woman's household to give him food. Eliyahu Nabi is a Sadiq. He didn't have a huge amount of Oshir, and yet he's still a Sadiq. And then they'll ask, why does Hashem not provide Yitzhak with the right means if we say that he wasn't as rich as he maybe should have been? Ibn Ezra sarcastically says, maybe someone will come and tell us why Yitzhak was blind. Right? We don't understand how God works. Someone come tell me why Yitzhak was blind. And he says, all the midrashim, and there are numerous midrashim on how Yitzhak became blind. Some say from the tears of the malachim in the Akedah. Some say from the ashan of the avodah zarah of the wives of Esav. But he says that there's a sod, there's a secret to that derash. It comes to teach us something. But on the most basic level, doesn't say the Torah exactly why he becomes blind, why he can't see so well, why he was lacking money. Ibn Ezra gives us a secret to it. We don't always know everything. We don't always understand the thought process of God. And we don't always have the power to understand why God does this or that, why a rich person is a rasha, and why a Sadiq is missing money. This is part of how life works. We don't always understand the mahshavot of Hashem. We can add that sometimes, even when Sadiqim are going through hard times, as we started with the Parasha, with Ribka and Yitzhak, 20 years without a child, we see them praying. We see them getting close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't always understand all the ways of God, but people think and make assumptions. This is an important point, that Osher is a ma'alal Sadiqim, that money is a high value for Sadiqim. This is not always true. And this might have a connection with Ibn Ezra's life, himself becoming a wanderer and a scholar at some point, but wandering to different countries and not having the exact means of a wealthy person, and telling us that not every Sadiq needs to be wealthy, and it could be they're not wealthy, and they're still a Sadiq, and they're still righteous. So Ibn Ezra might have a personal attachment to this specific element of the story that had for him, in a certain way, a connection to show us that Sadiqim do not need to be rich, and also that sometimes we don't understand how God works, and we might not fully understand it, but we understand that God is Sadiq ve'yashar hu. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.